Hello? Hello. I am unsurprisingly, shockingly unprepared. The camera's in the wrong place. I haven't got any of the screens set up. I haven't checked anything. Who knows what's doing what. Absolutely outrageous. Don't got a whole lot of stuff open I don't want to show people, but it's too late to close it now. Right, I've got the wrong screen on to start with. Am I even live? Is anyone here? Am I talking to myself? The button, yep. Hang on. Press it. It's been buttoned. I'm glad you're enjoying your tea. Connor, hello. Yes, it is Sunday. We are here. We're doing this, I think. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I've lost all control of my life. Quacko, hello. Daz, hello. AC, hello. Connor, Julian, hello. We're here. We're doing it. Relax. Okay. I would like to do some graphics programming today, as opposed to graphics debugging, which is what I felt like I've been doing for the last however many weeks. Streams, weeks, whatever. I do want to make one quality of life change first before we go back to SSAO, and I want to be able to disable the text rendering from the command line, because I think we're going to be needing to use renderdoc quite a lot, and it is a, excuse me, massive pain to keep like selectively disabling it. So I think we do that first. I suspect that'll take 10 minutes, so it'll actually take 45 minutes, and then for the last hour of the stream we can try and do some SSAO stuff. But man, multi-sample buffers, who knew? Who knew? Who knew? But yes, let's around, hello. Pop in and say GL. I assume you mean. Indeed, if you all remember, new video out now, out for everyone else probably tomorrow. I might tweak the thumbnail a bit more, but yeah. What I'm probably gonna do is have a disabled text rendering. Let me start again. What I am envisioning, the grand vision, is a -D disable font rendering, and then in the font renderer, if it detects that, it just returns like a 1x1 white pixel texture. So the font rendering code still thinks it's rendering fonts and getting out textures with the glyphs in, but they're just tiny, like non-existing images. I think that's probably the easiest way, because then it's effectively, as the caller, you don't have to worry about it or care. I mean, you're going to get back a texture regardless. It just may not have what you think it has in it. Let's have a think about that. So Slappy, hello. So I started trying to do this with the log to file, but I seem to remember us having some issues. So I'm going to try and relive, make this working. Because I think so. I want something like just trying to remember now. I want options something like this. Copilot can go do one. Disable text, and then it's something like disable text rendering, and that should default to off, right? status disable text. So unfortunately what this does mean is we're going to have to rebuild it a couple of times as we try and figure this out. So something like that. So if we do make config, hopefully we'll see that. So disable text is off. So it's kind of the weird double negative like dn debug, right? You are enabling the disabling of a thing. I suppose we could have enable text on, but I feel like the actual action, the opt-in action, is to disable it. I'm hoping that we can get in early enough that because it's a little bit wishful thinking because I'm not actually testing this, but if we look at the text factory, because it's just a free function, it's not a class. It's you basically I'm getting something like here, like if don't text, return empty texture, something like that. And then so what I'm hoping that it's irrelevant the fact that this is compiled in, right? Because these are just pointers, just COM objects. I think it's the fact that hopefully that we don't call this. But I don't know what the linker does. I don't know if there's some sort of LTO going on where it knows when you comment it out and you never call this. I don't know if the LTO is kicking in and removing like extra libraries that have been linked in. So I don't actually know if this is going to work, but I sure hope so. John, hello. We can, but try. Okay, so now what was my? So if I do just copy. Hang on, let's just source nope, make file. Make config no text. And I do dash d disable text equals on. To be honest, I'm actually going to want to put this up here, aren't I? Because I'm already just going to, I can see it caching it. So what was that? Make config no text. So disable text on. Okay, that's fine. So presumably now if we do make config again, just checking this all works before I'm like, where's all the text gone? Okay, it's fine. That's what I'm looking at there. Make config no text. So now what I want to do is do config h.in. So this is the config file that gets generated. So I want something like disable text equals disable text bool, because I'm going to need to like translate this, right? So if disable text set disable, God, see, makes such a pain sometimes. Bool disable text true, else and if. So let's see if that works. Don't think it runs the generator till you actually build it. So we'll see what that does. Good spot. So So this should come out as true, and then we can just if const expr that. I know you're not really supposed to use if const expr as a true macro, as like a true macro replacement, but I still think it's better than the alternative, which is macros. So I think there's some edge case where it doesn't. I don't think they are like one-on-one feature compatible, but who likes macros? Not me. So we'll get that bish bash bosh out the way, and then we'll check that we can then just build it and open it straight up in RenderDoc, and then check we can disable it and still render the text, and then finish off the multi-render target nightmare that I've set myself up for. I think we're nearly there. So we can. The refactor now allows us to specify a single render target. So in theory, we should be able to just add another texture and be on our way. Okay, so let's do eSource config. Nice. Okay, so that was that. So if I do make config regular and make game, oh god, 134 translation units every time I want to flip a flag. That is upsetting. I'm trying to work out for the next project if I want to decompose things into more libraries, so I have to build less, so there's less build churn, less independency. I don't know, or I might do stuff more in just header files and templates to make it even worse. I haven't decided yet. Because the resource, as an example here, the resource packer is rebuilding the whole resource packer because I've changed a part of the system that it's never going to use, but because I just statically link in the whole thing, it has to rebuild everything. Yeah, or we could look at Unity builds. I don't know, pass. Maybe we'll just sack the whole thing off. That is the end goal, by the way. That is my sort of silent end goal, is to slowly build out. I keep telling you I'm not building an engine, but I kind of am, in the sense that each game is going to reuse what I consider to be the good parts of the previous one, and we'll rewrite and extend it on the next one, and then eventually we'll slowly pull stuff out into an engine. That is. I wouldn't say that is I lie. That is not a primary goal, but that is a situation I could see us in. Is what I'm saying. Like I am not optimizing for that. But I do think something like that could happen. So if we just reload this, right, nice, nailed it. So let's do this one more time. Make config no text. Yeah, I think I'll probably just have the whole thing with int main to games. I literally started off with int main, right, with absolutely no care for design. I will think a little bit more about the architecture for the next game and what makes sense to pull out into separate libraries and stuff like that. But I do think maybe some sort of multi-library system might be better. But anyway, I digress. Let's go to Text Factory. So I now should be able to hash include the config file, right? And then if const expr not const expr not config. No, I know I've got the double negative wrong there. Hang on. Sorry, get there in a minute. This like, what's the easiest texture to load? Like, what's the easiest way for me to create like a 1x1 texture? Probably this one, right? So if I do return texture usage sRGB, I need a span of bytes. Oh, I think that's okay. Std byte, const byte. pixels equals ox ff ox ff. Oh, no, sorry, I prefer lowercase. I don't know why. What did that? I think I can do 3 sRGB. No, I think it's 4. Honestly, it doesn't actually, might not matter. 1 u. Sorry. Pixels. Bad typing day today. Pixels. 1u 1u. Ooh. 1u 1u sampler. I wonder if that is. That should be an array. Oh, it's byte, isn't it? God darn it. Thanks, Moose. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So you're saying the value that I add to your life is not anything technical related or my amazing insights into software engineering or C++. It's the entertainment you really derive is watching me fail to drive a keyboard for 2 hours. It's fine. As long as I know. Serious? Hello. Okay. Rank game. Boo. Unreachable code. Oh, what a pig that is. Oh. Boo. I'm gonna have to pragma disable this warning. Because it's not. Oh, gross. Gross. Also a little bit more indenting. No macros. It's gonna, at the moment, and it probably will remain some sort of like very, very light-hearted puzzle game. I mean, right, let's just see. To be honest, like, if I'm being totally honest, all the code in that file is disgusting. Like, it is the least pretty code that we've got. So what's another set of indents? Could not pass texture data. Curiouser and curiouser. Texture 67, I think that's what I said. Could not. Oh, gross. Yeah, it's going to try and load it as a ping. That is obviously not going to work. Where's like the raw? Where do I give it like the raw? It's this one, isn't it? With the num channels. Yeah, okay, fine. That is fine. I just need to add some more arguments. After 4, I need to say there is 4 channels in there. That'll work. Gonna get on a t-shirt one day. I'll make a fortune. Austin, hello. I'm trying to add a quick just toggle. So, long story short, RenderDoc does not like my font rendering because I render through DirectX and everything else is through. Sorry, I render the games through OpenGL, but I do the font rendering through Microsoft's Direct Draw, whatever, and RenderDoc gets a little bit unhappy with it. So I'm just adding a quick toggle so I can turn off font rendering from the command line. So when I need to use RenderDoc, it works. Okay, fine. So we got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. I don't know why there's. I really try not to think too hard about the lighting, but like, I feel like is that expected? They're like 2. Am I going mad? Can anyone see that? There's like 2 light spots. Is it just the angle I'm looking at? It's probably got that wall's probably got a really bad normal map, to be honest. Like, because here it's got this really bright blue spot here. Not worrying, fix lighting later. Yeah, I mean, light's working mostly. It does have, at least the normal maps kind of work now. So oh no, something's gone wrong because this has a normal map on it, this pillar. I think something's wrong with the textures of the walls. Because this is all black. Hang on, what's... Something's wrong with these walls. It's async for model loading and it's SDB for image loading. Yeah, that's something strange going on there. Why is that? I don't think it's necessarily the lighting that's balked. I think it's the... I need to make that a bit brighter again as well. Let me just brighten that a little bit, and then I'll... No, let's... One thing at a time. You're right. Let's check that render docs. Give me a second while I figure out my life. Game build debug. Nope. Source debug game. Runs from there. And then the command line args are build -x1920. Okay, fine. Let's just... So this is running under render doc. I could actually use this to have a quick look at what those walls are rendering as well. It might have the texture on. Actually, I think it does have the texture on. I think it's just really dark. Oh, it doesn't help that we've got HDR and everything turned off as well at the moment. Yeah, the mountains are... I mean, it's just a cube map, but yeah, The music's, like, okay my end. Let me... hang on, let's just have a quick look at this. Color path. So where's it draw the... oh, hang on, it's got the pillar there, so sort of draw rendering it. When does that? Inputs are... I think that's right. It is using that as a specular map, which is probably wrong. Anyway, I'm not too fussed about it because I want to finish off the multi-rendering stuff. Multi-target rendering. We can come back to that later. Okay, so now I guess the final test is if I do make config. It should be the latest version of RenderDoc. Oh, sorry. So what was the issue with the music? I think it's this one. Okay. I have just tweaked. Nope, hang on. Make run. I have just tweaked a OBS setting. It might have had the wrong capture source thing, so we'll give that a try. If this works, then yeah, half an hour for a 10-minute feature, not bad. And then we need to render out the world space, the camera, the vertex positions and the camera space normals to two render targets. Plug those into a new pipeline stage. Maths. then output that, apply that as the as the ambient occlusion on a final pass. We will need to blur it between the two as well, but I want to just kind of get it working first. I blame Twitch. No one on YouTube seems to be having a problem. Burn. Can get both communities all riled up. Have to go to kick. Okay, so now we've got font rendering again. I don't have any. Where's my font rendering here? Ooh, weird. Why is it only on the pause menu? Was that always the case? Okay, I had it on the wrong part. That seems strange. I always thought we had the font rendering here. Unless, did we move it to the pause menu? Possibly not. Lua. Level. It's definitely doing it here on the Lua level, and it's definitely setting it here. That's really strange. That's really strange. I'm gonna come back to that. Let's have a look. So let's do add CMake option to disable text rendering. Integrate into check config in text rendering. Commit update make file. Okay, 3 commits down. Bosh. Fix that later. Right, okay. I'm kind of okay-ish with that. I do feel like it's a little bit dark, though. Just have a look at that. Yeah, well, I need to go through the renderer anyway, so I'll do a quick top to bottom of that and show you. By the way, caveat, as I might have mentioned once before, I've never worked in the games industry. So my architecture for the renderer is probably not great, but it is certainly architecture. I see. Oh, see, that seems fine now. Maybe it was just too dark. How bizarre. Are these rendering now, or are these still black? I can't tell because the hate. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's bring the Mr. Barrel over. I think the normal mapping is now balked on those pillars, which we spent ages getting to work. So I need to come back and have a look at that at some point. Oh, lighting. Who needs it? Just gonna flat render everything. Okay. So the way my renderer works is I have a bunch of packed structs. Well, I have a bunch of structs which match the memory Let me start again. Here's how my renderer works. I've got a bunch of structs which match the alignment of their OpenGL counterparts. So these all effectively are CPU representations of data I want to copy over to the GPU. So that includes like information about point lights, information about all the lights, apparently just those. I don't know where the camera data is. A bunch of helper functions, don't worry about that. Blah, 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 blah. So I have a main frame buffer. Okay, so I will render to this frame buffer. And optionally, we'll use others for post-processing. So the main frame buffer gets bounded, gets help, I'm stuck, gets binded. We clear out all the shit from the previous render. I then write in the camera data, so it's the view, the projection, and the position data. I then assemble all that light data. Again, this is probably a little bit inefficient because I'm copying my game in its scene has its own internal representation of lights, and what I'm doing is then I'm now copying it over to this OpenGL buffer proxy basically. So that's a little bit inefficient. If we just stored in the whole game them in that format, then we wouldn't have to do this, but whatever, don't care. Then we render the skybox. Skybox gets rendered as a cube with some special depth mask fudging, so that has its own shader that gets rendered out. So now the skybox gets rendered first, then we go through every entity, and we so this is every model basically, and we bind and we draw it. So each entity has an associated mesh and material. We use the material, so that's GL use program. Again, this could be optimized by sorting everything by material and then rendering all those things with the same material in one go, because this is an expensive operation, but I'm just doing it every time, somewhat wantonly, but hey ho. Draw the elements, and then if we have any debug lines, those get drawn on top, and then we unbind the frame buffer. This frame buffer is SSAO, multi-sampled, so the whole thing is rendered with, I think, eight samples. We then blit it over to the first post-processing frame buffer, which in turn effectively, I don't know what the correct term is, like de-multi-samples it. So this copies the multi-sampled buffer into a single sampled buffer. Well, it does now. It didn't it didn't last stream. So that slaps that in there. And then we basically ping-pong between post-processing buffers, applying the effects that the scene wants. So if it wants HDR, it renders from the read one to the write one, does the HDR shader, and then swaps the read and the write, so that on the next one, if it needs grayscale, it does that, and if it needs blur, it does that. So it doesn't matter which one of those you have toggled and which combination, you'll always read from the previous read one and write to the next write one. And at the end of it, you're guaranteed that the read frame buffer is the final composition. Then we render any UI elements on top, so the UI is separate to post-processing effects. It just gets, and at the moment it's just font, just like a little bit of text rendering. And then we just split it out to the actual back buffer, and then later on in the window code we will swap that buffer. So that's basically how the renderer works. Sort of super whistle stop tour of the renderer. So I will be adding a new effect slowly, which is SSAO, and then that will just slot in here, and it will do everything it needs to do in that scope, which will involve a bunch of additional renders passes, because SSAO is a little bit more involved. But at the end of it, the net effect will still be the same, that the read and write buffer will be one we read from, one we written to, and then they'll be swapped. So you're always reading from the read frame buffer, basically. I don't know if that helps. But at the moment, the problem I have is simple. So my poorly named simple frag is the fragment shader that most of the rendering does. It's the one that does all the light calculations. It does the normal mapping. It does or at least it did at one point do the specular mapping, and that just outputs a single color. But I now need to output additional data that some of those post-processing effects might need. So that's what I'm trying to do at the moment. So in theory, we should be able to do frag color, get rid of that. And then at the bottom here, I'm hoping this will just work. And in the renderer, we should just be able to say for the main frame buffer, we actually want 2 frame buffers, and then this should all set this up to enable them. I don't know if we have to bind, like do any extra stuff in the binding. Let me just start building that. So the net effect will be that the skybox swap, but ignoring that for the moment, basically these draw calls will actually write to 2 frame buffers. It will write the color and then the camera space normals, which means I'll have those 2 bits of data separate. We're effectively writing a very thin G buffer. And then we need to capture some additional information as well. I think we need the screen. Is it the screen space position of the fragments? As in like relative to the camera origin, I think, rather than the world origin. I've got some notes on this. We'll figure it out. In fact, actually, where is my... Look at some of my old code that I did on this whilst that builds to remind myself what I'm doing. Engine. This is a graphics engine I wrote a few years ago, and I've cribbing a few. It's not great, but it's got enough for me to kind of crib a few notes off of. So if we go to the GLSL shaders, somewhere in here there's the main render node. Is it main? Here we go. So this has its own custom preprocessor for shaders, which use Ginger, wildly unnecessary. If it render the position, then you have the out position. So where's this? This is the other thing I need to add. So this is just whatever I called the view position, which is an in from that. Okay, fine. A little bit of code archaeology. Render node vertex. What did we call it? The view position. So in here, the view position is... ignore this. This is because I didn't understand column versus... Well, actually, no, that's a lie. I supported both GLSL and HLSL, which one was OpenGL's column major and DirectX's row major. And the CPU code doesn't care which one it is, so it just means that one of the poor shaders is responsible for transposing them. Anyway, so I just take the view and multiply with the frag pos. Okay, that's fine. That is easy. That's easy. So I think frame buffer bind just does it because it binds the handle which has been set up with these draw buffers to the GL frame buffer state. So I think it just does it. I mean, we're gonna find out now. In fact, actually, no. While I quit render doc, what a fool. Let's see if it runs under render doc. So actually, I'm gonna want to make config no text. Oh, this is already so much easier. Live my best life. Build -x. Cool. I'm glad that was useful. Okay. So I'm hoping we should see in render doc 2 output targets. One which looks suspiciously like screen space normals. And then once that's done, what I'm going to basically do is go through ambient occlusion fragment. I'm basically going to go through this and try and remember what it all does and just live code it and hope for the best. It's not a lot of code, but the maths is a little bit nuanced. I don't think this is right in the sense that you need random numbers in it, but OpenGL doesn't have the concept of random numbers. And all the implementations I see, you generate random numbers in a texture and bind that and then sample for it, whereas I just generated them once and hard-coded them in and hope for the best. Like, I've definitely got it working before, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, anyway, enough. Let's chat more crashing. Hi Lucas, hello. Okay, so this should now be doing things. Let's load that up. Okay, so in our, it does say 1, 2 targets plus depth, but I don't seem to have. Oh, it does have 3 outputs. Oh, okay, yeah, look at that. That looks like screen space normals to me. RGB, like. Yeah, okay, cool. Yes, you're right. It won't be on the final pass. Okay, okay. Why is the barrel not got those colors on it? Do you see what I mean? Like, why is all the world geometry has a color which is a camera space normal, but the barrel just. Am I going mad? I'd expect that to be blue facing me, and then a gradient round to red. But it's the same color as that. How is it outputted? You're right. I bet the barrel's using a different fragment shader. Yes. Oh, I hadn't considered that. Oh, what a nightmare that is. What are we going to do? No, I just need to update. No, it shouldn't matter. I just need to update those shaders to also have a normal output, right? E source. So let's do E source simple, E sort assets simple. Okay, bear with me. VS assets. And is it barrel? It's just it's just they all share the same vertex shader, which means they already have this in. So that's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm with it. I'm with it. Simple. Also need to resolve the SS normal texture. I'm not sure I understand. You mean the screen space? These are screen space normals. But I don't know what you mean by resolve them. Maybe I've missed something there. Okay, fragment shader out. So I should. Oh yeah. Fine. And then this should just be that. And I need to make sure it's kind of terrifying that like the vertex shader was now giving the fragment shader a different input, and the fragment shader was just like, I absolutely not going to. I don't need it, but I'm not going to tell anything about it. Right. I think that's the only two we've got. There's the checkerboard one, but that's for debugging, so I'm not too fussed about that. I'm going to get right up in the business of that barrel and take another capture. Yeah, I guess it doesn't do. But also, I guess it's just the design of OpenGL. The fact that I've bound multiple render targets but not written to them, I would kind of that feels like it should always be an error, right? Probably isn't Vulkan. One day, maybe. Okay, so let's just build that again, and then I will launch that. Let's go. No. Yeah, Vulkan would not have accepted my terrible OpenGL. or the equivalent of it. Playing fast and loose with the rules here. Okay, so you just... Right, so let's take capture of that. And outputs. Ah, that's more like it. And you can even see it's definitely in the floor a little bit now, not floating. Nice. Okay, I'm pleased with that. That was nice and easy. Surprisingly easy. Something else is gonna have to go wrong soon. Okay, so now let's ham in the view space, the view positions, I think I called it in a previous life. So that's the fragment shader. So I want to do in the simple vert, I'm going to do out vec3 vec4 view position. Yeah, I mean, again, people know my views on Vulkan now. Like, I would not be this far along in the project if I was using it, but I don't think it would look any better. So view position equals view times vec4 in position 1. I think that's right. No, it's not. No, it is. Sorry. Yes, it's because my code has bone transformation, which I don't have. I'm not worried about that yet. So let's do what did I call this? Out position. Norm color. I guess. Ugh. Position color equals. So I should interpolate it across the vertices. And then do frag, simple frag. I missed the end, didn't I? In vec 4 view position. To right, let's see if this works. Give it another buffer. What's another buffer between friends? Rebuild the resources, rebuild the game, stuck it in OpenGL, render doc, see what happens. Frag pos no. What was the error? What have I done? Tell me, talk to me, Goose. I am missing that. Is that right? No, I already have frag position. I need another one, don't I? Orlando, hello. So do we have the same one in the barrel frag? I already got it there. Okay. Just rebuild those resources. I don't know. I think, again, I'm just not that fussed about fighting Vulcan. I'm sure I'm pretty. I've done a little bit of Vulcan before. Like I'm pretty confident I could get it to work. I just when there's just so much else to do in making a game, and I know that my rendering requirements are relatively low. It just doesn't seem worth the cost at the moment for me. My general view of like this project and the following projects is that I would like the render to evolve with each one. It's kind of almost going through the history of rendering techniques. So this is a simple forward renderer with a a loop for lights. Next one will be a deferred renderer, and then after that it might be like a forward plus or forward clustered renderer. And at some point up we'll be like, okay, fine, we're going to do indirect rendering and we're going to need compute shaders, and okay, it might make sense to move over. But for now, we kind of keep going with what we got. I'm trying to do screen space ambient occlusion. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, make. Indeed. But I don't think, again, whilst I understand your point, I don't think I'm doing anything so out of the norm that it wouldn't fall on like a reasonably happy path for drivers. But maybe I'm wrong. Again, like I'm figuring a lot of this out as I go along. Okay, let's start this again. I want something a little bit close as well, so let's do FN F12. I mean, it is certainly sure is rendering. Does have 3 targets. Ooh. I think that's right, isn't it? Because it doesn't end up being really weird colors. What do I do in this stream? The intention is to make a game from scratch in C++ and OpenGL. Sometimes we get a little bit derailed in terms of like miserable bugs that are largely a result of my own hubris. But we're just stream by stream, hour by hour, just chipping away at trying to build a game with, a passable rendering technology. But we're trying to do as much as possible from scratch. I think that's right. I think that's because if you go to the source of all truth, learn OpenGL, right, and look at their SSAO, I think the colors are shifted, but I think there's advanced lighting. You get this weird like cross thing. So I think we might have. I think we might have it. I think we might have the information we need. To start doing this. I'm tempted just to commit up what we've got so far. I need to add. I can't believe the barrel things aren't tracked. That's terrifying. I'm like one corrupt file away from disaster. So that's that. And ignore that. So let's add that. Add that. Yes, that's fine. And then git add dash f as. Actually, so commit first pass, excuse the pun, of multi-render multi-target render. Okay, so we're going to need a new shader, right? We're going to need the SSAO shader, which is just going to render everything over 2 triangles, which means we can reuse the post-processing mesh we've already got set up. So let's get that set up. So let's copy assets. What's a good one? Grayscale vert to assets SSAO dot vert. Assets SSAO vert. I think this is all we need, right? I think that just remains the same. We probably could have a post-processing vert. Do we not actually? No. Okay. Assets. Gray frag to assets. Gray. Nope. SSAO dot frag. E assets SSAO frag. So this is going to have 2 samplers. Unfortunately, due to an error in my judgment at the beginning of the project, they're now stuck at text 0 and text 1, but we could probably just be like normal and position. What I want to do actually is just straight up sample this and have that. Okay, so the theory being then, this is just to check it all gets wired up. So we should be able to plug in the position, the normal and the position. And then we just output the normal. That's just to check it all gets wired up. So we should just see the screen space normals. Can I do... something terrifying? Can I... So that is normal color. Position color F0 R1. Can I do frag color equals something like text dot chord dot x is greater than 0.5. Vec4 position. Oh, Common4717 became a member on YouTube. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. What a great time to become a member. There's a new video out that you can watch early. So you should, I mean, stick around for the stream, obviously. Not trying to get rid of people. But after this, you should definitely go and watch more of me. YouTube's strange. Does this make sense, right? I want half the screen to be the normal input and the other half to be the position input, just so I can kind of check it's all properly wired up. Am I going mad? Is this the runes I want? I'm not sure if it's text chord. I want like, is it text chord? I want half the screen to be one thing and half the screen to be other. I feel like this is almost right. OpenGL shader set half, because it's a post-processing effect. I think this will. Just going to go for it. So let's just start building that out. So then I can go to game and load these into the cache, the magical cache. Material barrel floor simple. What do I do? Like, oh, do I not even put them in the cache? They just like, but they just loaded straight into the renderer. Great material. Interesting. Okay, fine. So down here, material, SSAO, material, label material, and then label SSAO, SSAO. Right, okay, so that should load those. So then, scene. So the main menu is definitely going to want to have this off for now. Just want to just focus on it where I can move around and see it. But the level routine, nope, the Lua level, HDR.SAO equals true. Now we're cooking. Back to the renderer. So I need to do this. No, ignore me. It is still one of the. Probably need to do this first. If scene dot effects dot nope dot SSAO, literally steal all this gubbins. This should be abstracted out. Like, I've written the same code more than twice, so it should be a function. Before splitting to posts, it gets splitted here, doesn't it? So it should be after. This is the first effect. SSAO, SSAO doesn't need that. It does need to. It's the. Here we go. The. Oh, you saying I should do it before I blit it? I don't think it matters. In fact, I need. Is this going to downsample my render targets? All of them? Big screen. What is this? This. That's what I want, right? I think. Interesting. So this is multi-sample by 8, but by the time I get to do, so when I do this, oh, interesting. It only blitz this input, so 8. If you don't know if you can see it here, it says 8 MIPS, 8 ms times 8 to. Oh, why is that? What am I doing wrong? Well, let's see what happens. I think it's got to suck it and see. Oh, do I? Thank you. There we go. Right, so this this blit here takes. Go away. 8 and outputs as well. There we go. Okay, fine. That's what I was trying to show. So the input has 8 multi-samples, but the output has 1. But notice it's only for the color. So I'm going to have to. Oh god, am I going to have to downsample those, or do I just read them as multi-sample inputs? So do I do... I wonder if it's just easier to do... Like, isn't it that? And then I don't have to worry about blitting it down. I might try that and just see where we get to. Exactly, yeah. What's the worst that could happen? So bind texture 0, bind texture 1. This needs to be main frame buffer dot color textures dot 1 dot native handle, I think. No, not native handle, sorry, just the texture. Maybe the address of it? There you go. That's not terrifying code at all. Mainframe buffer dot color texture 2. Because the 0th one, i.e. the first one, will be the albedo, and then we got the normal in the position. Interesting. Okay, fine. Let's have a quick look at that. So OpenGL sample from multi-sample texture. So OpenGL, is it sampler 2D MS? Sample texture. What's the OpenGL look like for getting that though? Whatever. We'll see what happens. The worst case is it breaks my graphics card, but it seems unlikely. Yeah, they probably need names, but for now, I just did it there. Just did it. I think this is fine. I think this is fine. So I strongly suspect I've done something wrong, and it will crash when we transition. Oh, I didn't even get that far. Interesting. Oh. I bet it didn't compile the shader. The shader? The shader. Yeah, there we go. Unable to find capacity overload for texture sample. You are right. It needs a sampler, something or other. OpenGL or what's it? Texture. Ugh. GLSL texture function. Texture. Sampler 2D. Shadow cube. 2D. Doesn't help me at all. Here you go. Right, but you've not told me what the extra arguments are. That text call is wrong. Should not be text call. Probably. Unless that's what it's undefined variable text. SSAO frag. Where was it complaining about that? Oh yeah. That's that. What's the missing argument? What argument am I missing here? Because it's Just tell me how to sample it. Might have to blit it. It just seems a shame. GLSL sampler 2D MS. Is it just like that? Do I just give it like the index? Oh, have I got to use text to fetch? Probably right. I might just split it. It probably is just easier. Yeah, I need to use that. Okay, fine. Thank you, Kumar. I think I'm assuming this is not going to run, but on the off chance it does, we're golden. The easiest thing to do will probably just to create 3 textures for the right. I think what the easiest thing to do is sack this off. Okay. And then do renderer. Like, I've got loads of GPU memory. I've got GPU memory to spare. Let's just give everything. You get 3 textures, and you get 3 textures, and you get 3 textures. So how do I blit one from one to the other? So what's oh, interesting. What a great. Do you think it's now that I've given it 3 targets on each, it's smart enough just to do it? You very well might be right. Oh, it's just gonna work. This is gonna work. Out the door. Okay. Okay. Build that. Render dock up. Launch. Sudo, hello. That is. Unfortunately, we have been here before. Okay. So end of color pass 1 has all this, and then the blit frame buffer. No, it's just doing 1, which means it's binding. Its inputs here are those are wrong anyway. Why are they so wrong? I can tell you one of the reasons why is because this shouldn't be the main frame buffer now. This should read from, this should be from post-processing 1, because that's where I've listed it to. So that's exactly why we're seeing that issue. But I'm worried that the blit isn't doing what I want it to do. Okay, fine. So that, not quite what I had in mind. But I was hoping I could just split them down to a single sample, right? Is that not what I want? Indeed, OpenGL. I feel like this. Copy all color attachments. A frame buffer color buffer will only read from the current GL read buffer for the GL read frame buffer. Will only write to the GL draw buffers specified by the GL draw frame parameter. So I need to set the read and write buffers. I'm just going to try this because I think this is easier. So with frame buffer object. Right. Okay, fine. So what I should be able to do is do for auto I equals 0u, I less than 3u plus I, right? And then prior to these, each of these, I should be able to do GL named frame buffer read buffer. I'm going to read from main frame buffer dot frame buffer dot native handle, and then this will be GL color attachment plus I. So I basically say that's what I'm going to read from, and then I will need to set GL named buffer draw buffer, which I believe I don't have access to yet, and then this will be post processing frame buffer 1. I do need to cast it, yes, to actually GL enum. And then frame draw CTB draw. Right. Okay. Let's see how we get on with that. That makes more sense, I think. So you're basically, it'll default to the 0 color attachment, but you basically say here when you blit here. So presumably that means you don't have to do them stepwise. If you wanted to copy from one and stick into another, you could. This will work. Can't say that too much because it loses meaning. Yeah, sorry, we are heavily render docking today. Let's get more in there. Okay. I think that's trippy. I think that's, is that right? I think that's right. Just for everyone, really mess with your bit compression on this stream. Just like, whoa. I'll undo that now. Oh, Rafi18, we were literally just discussing this like 20 minutes ago. My view is that, and I'll quickly summarize it for you. My view is that the additional power I would get from Vulkan would not be used, but it would increase the complexity and time to make the game. So I've opted for a simpler API to get more done, basically. I think it's probably the high-level summary of mine. Get that into a short when I can get time. Okay, right. So now I've just got to write SSAO now. I'm actually quite pleased with that. That's kind of nice. Top plumbing there. Okay. So I'm gonna. What's the fragment color? So I'm just looking through what I've got here. I don't know why I've got this sort of default fragment color. Do I use that, or is this just a... Oh, is that like a scale factor? Because I multiply everything by that. So do you start off with like grey? Scorpio. Thank you very much. Nice. Glad you're here. I should probably try and remember how this works. Boring. Maths. Yeah, we do all that. And then boom, there. Where does it take that color into account? I've not it's not really a preference. Like I don't think C style C++ is the correct usage of the language. But I mean, I guess that would be my preference because that is my opinion. But yeah, we are fully modern C++ 23 up the wazoo here. Concepts, coroutines, ranges, the whole shebang. What is this rando fragment color that I've hallucinated in a previous life? That's just how you apply it. I am confused. Because it wants it as an input, right? Well, it's hard-coded into the shader, actually. Ooh, Gregory. New YouTube member, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Glad you're here. Do go check out the new video after this. You have early access to it. Okay. I kind of stumped at the first hurdle here because I don't know what this... Right, okay. I'm just going to... You can hopefully assume that I typed all this out because obviously it's needed. I might just go back through the tutorial to be honest, because I can't remember what any of this is. Like, what is width? Is that the width of like the kernel that you are running over? Immediately regretting all my life choices to SSAO now. I thought I'd be looking at it and be like, yeah, I can remember how this works. If they got like a simple, like getting like my first whatever. Here we go. What's this? The shader takes as input the relevant gbuffer textures, nailed it. The noise texture, nailed it. The normal orientated hemisphere kernel samples, which I've got because that is these. So those are all random samples on a hemisphere. No, I did a bit of C++ at university, but then I worked. My first job when I graduated was as a professional C++ shop. So I kind of just done it professionally for like the last 10 years or so. Okay. The noise scale we want this. So they have. Okay, so they do vec3 fragpods, sample that, and then the normal, and then they sample the random vector, but I don't need to because I can just take out one of these. That's fine. Interesting. So they construct a TBN again. As we set the tiling parameter of text noise to GL repeat, the random values will be repeated all over the screen. Together with the fragpods and normpods, we have enough data to create a TBN matrix. This transforms any vector from tangent space to view space. Yeah, I mean, the only reason I want to use this is because I've used it, but I've literally had SSAO implemented before, so I'm kind of tempted just to just copy and paste my code and just see if it works. Oh, I can recreate the TBN as well. Okay, fine. Let's start with some of this then. So I've got const vec2 size equals vec2. You have to pass in the screen space, the screen width. I remember that. So we will hard code this now and almost certainly forget to change it. Const vec2 uv equals vec2 text chord dot x. Why do I flip it? Why do I flip it? No, please ask questions. It's fine. Yes, I've spent a lot of time tweaking my terminal setup. I'm quite pleased with it now. And then we've got the frag pos and then the normal So let's call that frag pos because that's what it is. And let's call this the normal because that's what it is. And I probably should normalize the normal just to be on the safe side. And that's, I guess it doesn't really matter the swizzling, but let's just be consistent. Okay, and then const int sample count. What do you call what's a good sample count? Again, because I use my sample count. I could just do the range of values. Like, what's a yeah, it's just all muscle memory after all. I mean, the biggest problem with Tmux is the default key is weird. Who maps Control B to something? Like, I don't like. I'm not. Was it Rachmaninoff? I don't have like massive hands. Sample count equals, I don't know, 10. I'm gonna have to find out what I used for these because this is gonna massively throw it off. Let me just see if I can find Where is all this wired in? Where was all this wired in? It'd be in the samples, I imagine. Bear with me. Hold on. Samples, sample browser, samples. I know the animation sample used SSAO. Nope. Okay, fine. I'm pretty sure I used this is how I tested it all. Yeah, post-processing. Here we go. Ambient occlusion. Great. I assume that has sensible defaults in it. Iris include iris graphics. Jesus, I wrote a lot of code. Render graph, post processing, ambient occlusion. That's the node. That's for the. Where's this? Where's this? Graphics post processing description. Jesus. Okay. Here we go. Numbers. 32.5 and 0.25. We'll start off with those. Those seem like good numbers. Const float radius 0.5 and const float bias equals 0.025. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Did I know that all three vec3 values in a range are so actually like 16 bytes, not 12? Yes, but isn't that only in is it stood for 30 layout and maybe stood one of the two layouts? But yes, I'm aware of that. It's a massive pain. Control D, interesting. I went for Control A for Tmux, and then yeah, I also remapped caps lock to escape. Okay, right. What misery am I trying to fight my way through now? So apparently I then want const int x equals. So this is going to start figure out where I'm going to sample from. uv.x times size.x modulo 4. Sure. It's not really my best explained code, this. I feel reasonably justified in using it because I've definitely written it before. Index equals, I think, so this is trying to figure out where you're going to sample from, because you pick a point and then you have to, you basically, what you do is you find for each point in the scene, you find the position of it, you find the normal of it, you then stick a hemisphere over that, and then you randomly sample points around that, project those forward and see which of those clip into geometry, and then you use that as the occlusion factor, which is basically what we're going to be doing. Any performance differences? I assume there would be a performance difference, but I've not profiled it enough to say. But like, you know, they are probably more expensive operations. But okay. Okay, fine. Right, I've seen now. So I got that twice. So then const vec. I think someone mentioned this. I wish I could use auto. Normalize noise data. Right. So this effectively samples us a random value. Okay, based on our the current UV coordinates. So that'll give us a random vector, a rando vector, which is nice. And then from here we can do const. Let's type auto then. Tangent. So we'll need to construct a TBN, the tangent by tangent normal, a new orthonormal basis around the point with its camera space normal. So normalize rand minus normal times dot rand normal. So this will get us our first vector randomly sampled on the hemisphere. I think that's what that's doing. Const vec3 by tangent equals cross normal tangent. Yeah, so we're going to take the normal, pick another random vector off it, and then get the other one using the cross product. And then const auto tbn equals mat3 tangent by tangent normal by tangent. This is going to be an absolute nightmare to debug when it absolutely doesn't work. Oh, old habits. Okay, right. And now we start accumulating the occlusion. So nailed it. So what we're going to effectively end up is with something like it might be 1 subtract those, but that's basically where we're going to get to. We're going to figure out the occlusion and then render it. So you should get a black and white image, basically. What do you mean by OpenGL easy to implement? Do you mean use? It's very easy to use. You should go to learnopengl.com and follow through there. It'll give you a guide on how to get set up. Okay, fine. So now, for int I equals 0, I is less than our sample count, we will. I'm not sure. I might just leave these hard coded and we'll just tweak them over time. Like, ideally, you would have them as uniforms and then have them through like DRMG or something so you could tweak them. But let's keep it simple. Yeah, we don't use OpenGL 1.4. Right, okay. So let's take the sampling position, which is the TBN times samples I. So that takes our random vector. And converts it into using the orthonormal space of our hemisphere, right? I think it sounded good in my head. There's gonna be like a handful of people out there who like do this as a day job, and there's gonna be like, this guy is an absolute charlatan. So frag pos plus the sample pos times the radius. Then vec4 offset equals projection times vec4 sample pos 1.0. And then we have to do some maths, and I forget the exact reason why, but it's something to do with the camera view of it. I feel like once upon a time I did really understand this. Honestly, I would read the article was very good and actually did help me a lot. There's only so much I kind of want to read live and just want to get on with the code. Okay. Const vec3 sample normal equals normalize the texture. So now I need to find the normal of where the sample is hitting, I think. Oh yeah. So texture of text naught offset.xy.rgb. So this is getting another normal. So we're going to sample n times and then project onto the hemisphere and then take the normal of the thing that we hit, I think. And then we do if dot normal sample normal. This is, I remember doing this. If they're very close, like, don't worry about it because the result isn't that great. And then we do const float sample depth equals texture of text1 vec2 offset.x 1.0 minus. So get the depth, the screen space depth of the thing that we hit, and then we do const float range check, and then this next bit is to do with smoothing out, preventing like super hard edges. I think it helps kind of interpolate amongst the small variances in the occlusion, I think. Yeah, so still a small issue of taking it out. Whenever trying is tested for ambient occlusion that is aligned close to the edge of surface, it will also consider depth values of surface far behind the test surface. These don't include the occlusion factor. So we introduce a range check to make sure a frame contributes to the occlusion if its depth values within the sample's radius. Sure, sounds good. We're going to do that. Basically, I hit all the edge cases when I did it before, and I try to counteract them as many as possible. Oh my god, people are talking. Right. Oh, you see what people are saying. Oh, I missed some F literals. I'll go back and have a look. Okay. Thanks. I've got my LSP is Queco. So range check equals smooth step between 0.0 and 1.0. The radius over the absolute. Sure, I mean, sounds good to me. And then, so the occlusion that we actually care about is the sample depth is greater or equal to the sample pos z plus the bias, then it's 1.0, else it's 0.0, and that is times the range check. And then at the end of this, after that loop, we just do occlusion equals 1.0 f minus, to take occlusion over sample count. So we just normalize it. And then it should be able to just slap it out there. Is the F suffix valid in GLSL, or have I made that up? That's all there is to it. Bish bash bosh, done. Ambient occlusion. Gonna work in one. I'm not gonna do a poll because I know it's not gonna work. So I am super diligent with literal F suffixes in the C++ code. I'm probably, I don't know why, a little less interested in doing it in GLSL, but I'm pretty diligent with it in CPP land. Okay. I appreciate the confidence. We've got 15 minutes left to see, well, ish, see how far we get. All right, let's do make run. It will fail straight away if there's a syntax error in the shader, which is good. Boom. Right. Undefined variables projection and text. Okay. That is because it comes from a simple that comes from there. So I just got to make sure that should already be bound, question mark. I might need to bind that again. And then what was the other one I didn't like? Text. That was text. Oh yeah, that is. You're not wrong. I can set that off by going and check my renderer. This is already bound, so I think the next shader will just pick that up. Lavender, hello. Yeah, just play fast and loose with bindings in this. I really want to use bindless textures in the next project, but RenderDoc doesn't support them, so I'm very conflicted. Not that I've been spending a lot of time thinking about the next project or anything. Incompatible types in initialization, 82. Yeah, sure, I'd agree with that. That's certainly a Mat 3. Ooh, a lot making reses. Apologies. I might seem like a sorcerer. I certainly don't feel like it. No, it doesn't support it in OpenGL. It definitely supports it in DirectX 12 because I've done it before. I've not tried it in Vulkan, but it doesn't support it in OpenGL. And I think the bindless textures is a weird place in OpenGL because everyone supports it, but it's still considered an extension, so it's bindless ARB or whatever it is, and RenderDoc only really supports the core spec of OpenGL and not that many extensions. There's a GitHub issue where the guy's like, we're probably not going to add this. So I kind of get the justification, it's just a little bit annoying. Oh man, doing some glide, that'd be fun. Yeah, well, we do what we can do. It's all just drawing random runes in the sand to summon something. Okay. Should we see what mess this is? That's pretty... I mean... It's not... You can almost see it. It's definitely wrong, but like... I feel like it's... I don't know. I feel like it's... Yeah, something really weird going on here. Yeah, I do think there's an issue with the scaling. But you can see in the artifacts, you can start to see like the outlines of things that would potentially cause occlusion. Whoa. Okay. Step outside. Let's have a look at the mountain. The mountains look pretty cool. Right. That's concerning as well. Why is that not grayscale? Problem for later. Miranda's literally just come back at the absolute best time. That, mate, that's SSAO. Used to be a game dev. You should be an engine dev. You should know that. It's SSAO, mate. Right, let's see if we can figure out what's going on. Okay, we'll spend a little bit of time starting to figure out where we're going to go with this, but I'm feeling more confident. See, that feels, yeah, like that feels. I went to point to the screen there, which that's useless for you guys, but there's definitely occlusion happening between the wall and the floor. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Like with. Yeah, I've got all the right occlusion, just not in the right place. All right, okay, let's have a look at this. So what do we... So we split the frame buffers out, so... current texture, and then we color pass here. So we... Why am I doing 2 draws? That's strange, right? That's exciting. That is exciting. Okay, so my inputs are definitely, assuming this is right. Harand, does this look legit for screen space position data? So we got the normals and that, and then the output is this hot mess. Why is it doing 2 renders? Cool. Okay, so the problem then is just the shader. Well, actually, I want to quick look at the. Why is that render doing? Do we have another post-processing effect somewhere that I'm not? No. Hang on. No, HDR should be off. And it should do a clear before each. Should do a clear before each post-processing effect. Yeah, I must admit, like, this is really at the edge of my knowledge now. I know that it should look strange and like a cross section. I'm not 100. I can't always fully visualize what that means. If I just rendered this out and we walked around, would that help? Why does this keep disappearing too? That's because it's not tracked by Git. Let's equals vec for position 1.0. I think that's right, isn't it? Frag pods. It shouldn't be doing. I mean, it should just be rendering out the. It's just rendering out the result of view matrix times by frag position, and then interpolated. But that's the output of that. Oh yeah, that's a good point. It's just there once. I don't understand. Unless there is another post-processing effect I've got active. But it should clear the buffer, right? So why am I only seeing one? How strange. How very strange. Main Chrome. It's not causing an issue as far as I can tell, but like it shouldn't be doing it. Like it's something going on that I don't understand, which I don't like. Right, let's see. Hopefully someone knows what they're doing and can tell me if this is right or wrong. Indeed. I'm hoping for some input from someone somewhere. Interesting. Okay, let me see what I'm doing. So if we go to simple vert, I have view position, right? Yeah, and I do. Right. Okay. So there's something wrong there. So what's wrong with? But then, interesting. Is this not right then? Do I not output the view position like this? So look what I did. Render node vertex. I had view position. Last time I did this, view time flag pos. And frag pos is, oh, it's model times view. I could simplify this as well, I reckon, as well. So in fact, don't I then want to do like that? Yes, because I had row major rather than column major. An early decision that I live to regret. Position, thank you. Okay. Oh, man, if it just worked, that'd be crazy. I mean, the shader has worked before. I sure have written an SSAO shader before. Daniel, hello. I just need to. We'll probably need to do a better blur as well, I think, because at the moment I've just got like a box blur, and when you pause the screen, you can see it's not great. Probably need to do a. Is it Gaussian? Is where you can blur the two axes separately. Yeah. Yeah, this is going to Windows only start with, like, just based on like time available to myself. Okay, so let's run that. Right, is this what we were expecting? Okay. Is it supposed to be more blurred, presumably the closer it is to me? Okay, right. Okay, so we... Okay, right, well, let's just give it a go. Still can't work out where this extra, like, rando draw call's coming from. Let's go. Let's do it. Got button. Got my shit at my desk. Alright, let's be a nice high to end on. Oh, to be honest, I think we've actually made quite a lot of good progress today anyway, so I'm not too fussed if this doesn't fully work, because we can just burn a stream figuring it out. Indeed. Occluding time. It's kind of there. Oh, why is it? It's got the normals wrong. I mean, you tell me. It's still. Whoa, whoa! Can you see a repeat of the geometry as you look up? Like the windows on the left. That is trippy. Well, so here's a thing for you. The code I was looking at did invert the y coordinates here, and I wasn't really sure why. I think I'm going to leave this here and have another look at it properly next time, because I feel like it's quite easy to get stuck in a rabbit hole now. Let me just... I think we can just take some time to properly kind of go through it. I think next stream would be just a debugging stream. We'll go through it. Let me just tidy this up. So let's see. It's git add -f assets SSAO star. So current add SSAO shader. So it's going to be what? Add SSAO option to scene. I think we're going to just discard that for now, and then add new OpenGL function, and then integrate SSAO into renderer. Okay. What stream are we on now? Stream 84. Not going to do a build. Okay, you might be right. Okay, fine. Let's get that done. I'm going to press this. Hello. Me, but larger. There's an approximation of the code online, but it's quite out of date now, and I've just not had the chance to update it, but hopefully soon. I think we're close. Like, I'm pretty pleased with that. That feels occlusion-y. I think there's just gonna be some. I think there's some difference in the assumptions that my original code has that are now different to this renderer. So I think it's just figuring out what those are. It'd be cool when it's done. I think it'll add a lot of bit. It's subtle, but I think it'll just add a little bit of it's looked worse. I think we can all agree on that. It's looked worse. Cool. Yeah, usual calls to action. You should come along to Discord. It's great. If you're a YouTube member, there's a new video out now that you can watch early. For everyone else, it'll probably be out tomorrow. It was good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. Other than that, good stream. I feel happy with this progress. I feel like we're making good progress. Next stream, which I guess will be Wednesday, we'll finish SSAO. It'd be good. Yes, but don't worry. You hopefully, if you're around for Wednesday, you'll be around for the important part, which is the miserable debugging. I use LazyGit. That's this is the Neovim plugin for LazyGit, but it's effectively the same thing. Cool. Okay. Thank you very much for coming along. I had a great time. We'll do more of it Wednesday. I will see you all anon.